I wanted to talk about some of the comments I'm getting on my many ventures, websites, channels and so forth. Mainly videos, but also website comments that I do get occasionally. And I do get a lot of them, and it's all good. 99.9% are really, really nice and appreciative comments from viewers who just want to say thanks. Hey, this helped me, or sometimes they have a tip or trick or suggestion themselves, and they just want to say how well the solution worked that I presented, and I really appreciate that. It's just very nice. It tells me that most of my viewers, almost all viewers, say, hey, this I just wanted to say thanks. And it doesn't matter if it's just a thumbs up or if it's a lengthy comment that just explains their own situation. It's usually 99.9% it's fine. And I like that. I love that when that happens. It's just a very good affirmation of, hey, you're doing the right thing. You're helping people, and that's what I want to do. That's exactly what all these ventures are about, to make the world a better place. Every so often you get somebody who just doesn't get it, and I try not to think about it, but sometimes it gets to me, because often these people just didn't get the message or didn't understand it and give me a hard time for not having understood it themselves. So that's a bit of a shame. So one of those things, there are about 3 in the recent past that have happened, and I don't want to single them out or read them out to you or mention the people who've left those comments, but just the general gist of it. There was one that was a while ago, actually, that just springs to mind when I think of idiotic comments, as I'd like to call them. It was on a video about walk animations in that studio. I think all I was showing was, I think I made a little walk animation, a little 1 minute 30 animation thing, and a couple of people in the comments were asking, hey, can you show us how you did that in that studio? So I made a longer form video of how I did that step by step to kind of recreate it, and it was well received. So people liked that on the whole, except for this one guy who has, and remember, this was during the time I was on chemo, so it was during 2016, and I did this to kind of pass the time, and this one guy goes ahead and says, well, you didn't show us how to create walk cycles, did you? And I was thinking, at first I was thinking, well, have I misrepresented what the title states? That happens sometimes, that I'm giving it a title of what the video isn't actually about. So my immediate reaction was, hey, maybe it was my fault. So I looked at it, and the title clearly states how to create walk animations, not how to build walk cycles. And I tried to convey that message to him and said, hey, I never claimed to show you how to build a walk cycle. I didn't, I'm not an animator. I'm taking building blocks and adding them together, and then out comes a pretty picture, really. That's all I know how to do. And so we had a bit of a discussion going back and forth, and it was, I gave up in the end because he just didn't get it. He probably, from what I understand, he probably got there from a Google search or from a YouTube search, was looking for something particular, and my video happened to come up. Not really my fault, but he thought my video was about something he was searching for, which I never said it was. So it's kind of crazy. Or there was another guy, he was commenting on the mouse animation, and he liked that and thought, wow, that's amazing animation work. And I told him how I did it with Mixamo and the blocks, and how I just did it in principle. And then he came back really disappointed and said, oh, that's totally cheating, you didn't animate anything then. And I was thinking, well, no, I'd never said I did. I mean, I made the animation. And so he made it sound like it was kind of a cheating way of getting images or getting viewers, and I was thinking, my God, you have misunderstood what I'm doing here so completely that that's not even funny anymore. Yeah, so in the same realm, I was thinking, well, isn't it then, would you also say it's cheating by buying an asset and using it in your 3D scene? Is that also cheating? Because you have to build everything from scratch, texture everything from scratch. Animating a mouse like that without Mixamo animations takes years, man. Anyway, beyond my capabilities. One guy left me a comment, in fact 3 comments, on the recent live stream that I did about when I tested out the Octane thing for DAZ Studio and thought how can make that work, and most people found it interesting. It had over 200 views on YouTube in the first 2 days, so that's kind of, it's a good live stream there for me. And so I guess he left comments just like one after the other saying, well, this wasn't really successful, and Octane isn't about lights, you know, Octane is only about materials. And I was thinking, well, don't you have to have lights in order to get a picture out of it, and don't they have to be Octane lights? So it's kind of unnerving when that happens, you know. There's one guy who left a comment totally off topic on my website, actually, under the latest video on my WP Guru website, and it was completely off topic. So he was saying, hey, I'm an older guy and DAZ was my life, and the thing is, I tried to make some room on my internal hard drive, on my C drive, didn't work, and I tried to follow your instructions of moving the content off there and putting that on a second hard drive. I tried 8 times, you know, and now nothing works, nothing downloads anymore, nothing works anymore. So now I can't use DAZ Studio at all anymore, and I've tried everything. Thank you very much. And I was thinking, what am I going to say to that? How am I going to respond to that? I mean, first of all, there's no real... That's not good, dude. Somebody nearly ran into me because he wasn't looking when he was driving. Crazy. So on one hand, there was no real call for help. So he wasn't saying, hey, I'm having issues with X. Could you explain this, or could you help me out there? So that didn't happen. So I also never really provided step-by-step instructions. They're all pretty vague, as in the concept is, if you have DAZ Studio content, uninstall it with Install Manager, tweak the path, let Install Manager and DAZ Studio know the path to another location, reinstall your content. The end. Not much that can really go wrong with that, but you know, for him it went horribly wrong, and now he can't use DAZ Studio anymore, which is, you know, I feel bad for that, but at the same time I must also say, if there's no real question in a comment, then that makes it really hard for me / impossible for me to even respond to that. I mean, what am I going to say? Hey, sorry about that. No, I'm not sorry. I didn't ruin your computer. You did something that I probably never really told you to do. You know, I didn't say click here, do that, and you know, I don't take responsibility for something that is clearly not my fault. If DAZ is so important to you, you should have a second, completely separate computer that is a backup system to your current system, and you know, do it that way. So I'm not responsible for you screwing up your system, I'm afraid. At the same time, if there is an issue with a particular step or a particular issue that now isn't working anymore, like nothing is working isn't really an explanation of what can be fixed there. If nothing is working, well, try reinstalling Windows, try that, you know, or buy a new computer, maybe that's a good solution there. But it's not something I can really help with. So I usually decide either not to respond to comments like that, but at the same time I also don't just want to delete them, or you know, I just don't want to. It's a difficult one for me because I don't know how to handle those types of situations, because I'm trying to be positive and I'm trying to be upbeat and help people, and then you know, 99.9% of people get it and they like it and they're appreciative, and you know, every once in a while you get this weirdo that pops up. And I suppose every system that is open for the public to interact and communicate with any given subject kind of attracts that 0.01% of difficult customers, shall I say. I think that's a good expression, the difficult customers. Yeah, It's difficult. I know. Yeah, that's actually the good expression for that. A difficult customer, because I don't know how to handle these things. On one hand, I could just ignore them, but at the same time, they're kind of getting to me because I'm trying to help. You know, my impulse is to help, and I think that's the challenge for me. That there is a certain portion of comments that I just can't help with, and often, I mean, there are sometimes comments or questions that I can't answer, and I'm usually open and upfront about it to say, hey, not my area of expertise, don't know enough about that. I sometimes say, yeah, this is how I would handle it, but I've not tried this myself, so I don't really know. Also with the request that if he or she figures out how to solve that problem, to please post a solution there, because that may help others. So that's the other thing. Sometimes some of my viewers have discussions in between themselves, which is great. You know, somebody's found a solution to something that I didn't present, but they did, and then they get questions. So that's wonderful. That's wonderful if people help each other that way. And so on the whole, super nice system, and you know, I wouldn't have it any other way. It's awesome. It works really well, and it's a lot of work responding to comments properly. Sometimes I have to try things out before I say, hey, this is how you do that, and I really test these things out step by step and see if it's actually producing the solution that the person is after, just to make sure I'm not saying, hey, this is how you do it, without ever testing it. That's not a good way of doing it. So yes, that I do that, and I love that about the community, but every once in a while you get this 0.01% that you think, don't really know how to handle that. If you have any tips on that, please let me know in a comment. Yes. Other than that, I just thought I'd share this with you, because you know, it's been the 2 or 3 comments at the same time, and it reminds me of such comments from the past, and I've never really talked about it, but yeah, they are, the more you get comments on anything you do, the more of that 0.01% is also in the mix.